Hey guys, welcome to my FSD videos. If you watch my content, this is a new playlist I'm starting to develop. This will have more of self-driving videos going forward. I'll be also making more gaming videos, anime videos, so stay tuned for that. This is version 13.2.2 and it's a very first video and I have a voiceover in this one, but I'm getting a better camera equipment and so on, so later on we'll be having more concise, precise videos with live commentary. But this one was a very first drive with FSD 13.2.2 on Tesla Model 3 Highland, so 2024 version. And we're going to notice a few things in this drive. This is only like around 20-minute drive. We're going to a near place and we'll be covering some in-city portion and some freeway portion. And as you can see, we'll be covering some instances where we'll be seeing how the FSD works. I'll be stating out some differences that I felt in a few places when it's actually in city traffic and highway traffic, so stay tuned. Sorry about the little shaking of the camera or the wobbly part, because this is again not the best camera equipment I'm using in this video. Going further, there'll be more stabilization in the video. So this very instance, this is pretty interesting because usually version 12 would not change the lane right here. So this lane actually going forward ends, right? And it just turns right. So version 12 would really struggle. It'll go towards the end when it finally would realize that this lane kind of ends, and then would try to change the lane by giving the indicator, right? But this one actually acts really well ahead of time, and then manages the speed really well. Look at that. So this guy was trying to get in between, which version 12 did, right? So it would do something like that. But version 13 managed that really well. The speed in city, at least in till this time, right around 2 minutes or so after I started recording, it's really well. I felt really comfortable, especially at this particular spot where it managed the speed really well. The braking felt really more comfortable as a driver. When this situation happened in version 12, it would give you a little bit of that uncomfortable feeling, right? But here it felt pretty confident and pretty comfortable, to say the least. In version 12, you'd be very close to the vehicle and then you'd finally come to a stop. Here it acts way better in the sense, because these are some basic things which self-driving should make most use of, right? It should kind of make you feel more comfortable as a driver. It should lead situations where a driver gets uncomfortable, but it should lead those situations in a sense where driver is not scared, right? That is how I test the FSD, working of FSD for myself. Again, very nice speed profile here. The speed is around 40, but we are going with the traffic around 30. We have a good distance from the car ahead of us, and the speed felt really like the car is in control. Right here too, the driver in front is braking once, twice, more often, and we're handling that really well. So this stop right here, right? Version 12 would really come very close to the car with the same speed, and then it would immediately go from like 30 to like 10, right? But here that gradual decrease in speed seems like a big game changer, because that is what makes you feel like, yeah, you're in full control. So coming up is a highway entry point, and so far the lane decisions that the car has taken is actually correct, and that is something version 12, the final version, right, 12.5.6.4, I think, that was able to do pretty well too. But one significant change that I felt right here was the, again, like contrary to the decrease, which is much better, the increase felt almost similar, but again, it's a little bit more comfortable. I think that gradual increase when it's entering the vehicle, when it's entering the highway, it's very similar to that of version 12, but it just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable the way it gradually increases instead of going directly from 0 to 50 or 0 to 60. And then here it just changes lanes. This is the standard profile, by the way. I don't change the profiles much, but this whole video is in standard profile. And as you could see, it changed the lane as soon as it entered, something version 12 would also do. But one very significant change here is that version 12 would not slow down even after the cars in front are like slowing down or braking. You see the brake lights on the car ahead of me, right? Version 12 would be very close to that car, and then it would just immediately slow down, and that made me feel uncomfortable a lot of different times. But version 13, see this particular movement, it went from like 65 to like 60, keeping the distance to be kinda similar, right, to what it started with. But version 12 in this case would be very close to that car, and it just made me feel more uncomfortable at that time. Right here, we are coming to that distance how we had in version 12. Luckily, the driver in front changed his lane, right? But we were at a very comfortable speed at that point. I wouldn't say that it has really improved from that. The speed does feel much comfortable, but I think this is a point which I, as a safe driver, value a lot, and I think it's still not there where I'd say this is perfect, right? I cannot say that because it's still, in some situations, it does get close to the car in front of you. If it has to stop, it will most likely, right? But I still have to be ready to press the brakes in those situations. You got to be ready all the time, but it just makes you that uncomfortable, especially in version 12, made you like uncomfortable in those situations that I was like ready to brake. I was like, anytime this could happen. Once or twice I even took over. In this drive though, this is the very first drive, so I had to do a lot more testing, a lot more videos, right? But at least in this drive, I did not have that feeling. I did sometimes feel maybe I'm a little bit too close, maybe there could be more distance, but overall, the distance between the cars felt much better. The speed, the control in the car in those situations when the driver in front is braking felt much better. So that is something definitely coming along with version 13, where overall as a driver you feel much safer. we are at 65 and we are driving at like around 72, 71, 73 at times, which is pretty good. Something that version 12 also did, so no major differences there. So this is a little steep curve right here, and I wanted to see how this deals with the curve, because sometimes the car, like in 72 to 73 speed, has to really take control of the steering a little bit better, because it tries on that speed and this type of curve, it tries to go out of the lane. So it's right coming up ahead, and version 13 did pretty good job at that. So right here, first curve where there's a car on the side, so it cannot really go out of the lane. Both of the sides there are like cars, and it was around 73 to 74 speed limit, so that's good. And now here's another turn that's coming up that's a little bit more steeper than the one that just went by, and the car slightly, you know, speeds down, right? From 73, 74, it comes down to like 69, 68, and that was probably enough for it to get that control. This is another curve again. Here it goes from like 65 down to like 60, so that manages this really well. Version 12, this was a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes it would do that, the other times it would just try to go that on that kind of curve at around 70, 72, which again was a bit more uncomfortable. And here it does a great job in standard profile. So I was wondering, there's like traffic, does it have to control the speed here? But dude, it simply changes the lanes, comes to a lane that's kind of fast and has less traffic, and it goes from there. Very confident in decision making. Version 12 in terms of changing lane etc wasn't like with less confidence something, or not like a lot of inconsistencies there. It's just that version 13 feels, as I told you before, it just feels that it's doing these things being a little bit more confident. The decision it makes, it kind of doesn't stutter at all, so that's good. So right here again, you know, the same thing that I was talking about a while back. The distance that it's keeping from the car in front, I really like that. So it's gradually increasing from 65 to like 68, then it goes to 70. And when a car comes up front, like this particular example, right? It's going 67, 67. We're getting closer to the car. Now it starts going down. Not yet. In this instance, it just changes the lanes. So tries to keep up with the speed as long as it can. But at other instances, it would try to gradually decrease the speed and maintain the distance with the car in front. So it goes in the rightmost lane here and then goes back to the left lane. It's on 55 right now. There's a very narrow curve here in the exit. Manages speed really well again from 55 to 38, and I'm being honest, I did not feel like that was very sudden or feel like that was way too uncomfortable or nothing like that. So definitely the way it's managing speed in version 13 feels much better than version 12. This is too early to tell probably, but version 12 at times would choose the wrong lane. So for example, it stayed in the second from the left lane here, right? Just because going ahead, it knows that it has to take right. But version 12 at times would kind of, you know, be in the first lane, try to change the lane later, stuff like that. But it wasn't that bad either, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like version 12 was really bad at this. It's just that it was a bit inconsistent, and that is something I'd test more with version 13, right? Because we got the software just yesterday, so we'll kind of try it a little bit more, try to see how it works. Here's another kind of similarity, right? So without crossing that signal, it's still staying in the second from the right lane, right? While it has to turn right, so now it would basically give an indicator and then go to the right lane, and that's I think around just 0.2 to 0.3 miles left. But in general, it would do on highways, for example, it would take the rightmost lane around 1 mile, 1.2 miles before, it's bit more natural from version 12 point something onwards. But I would expect that behavior somewhat in city driving too. Although this was very smooth, very fast, but I would still expect it to kind of come to the lane which it needs to use a bit more earlier. And this is the final phase, and something weird happened here, because as you could see, after 2 signals, I have my destination on the left. So it does get on the left side, this time way too early, which is very good, which is what I expected. At this moment I was thinking, yeah, this is what I expect, because right before that turn it was doing something else. I was very happy here. But as we move forward, we'll overtake these vehicles, and then you'll see what happens here. It just decides to go to the right lane. I don't know why it did that, but it continues to do so. I thought, okay, maybe something related to the speed, or maybe there was a car behind, but nothing like that. It just decides to move in the right lane and then make a right turn. The navigation says your destination is on the left. Now I don't have that audio, but it just decides to go right. So at this moment I kind of had to take over the FSD, and I don't know why I did that, but maybe it thought that the complex right here, right now on the right side, maybe the destination is somewhere there initially, and that's why. But that is something, that is the only thing that I felt was weird in this whole drive. And that's about it, guys, for this video. I'll be making more videos going forward, which will be more stabilized, which will be in the daytime too. But for this first ride, I'd give it like a score of 7 out of 10. For my version 12, it was more of like 6.5, almost 7 too. But in terms of compatibility and the comfort level, it's far more, right? So that is definitely way more improved in version 13. We'll see you soon in other videos. Stay tuned, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, share and like, and we'll see you soon with other videos very soon. Till then, goodbye and cheers. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Bye bye.